I'd like to call the meeting, the District of Chetwynd to order. Can I get the opening statement read, please?
As we gather today on the traditional territory of the Treaty 8 Nations to conduct the business of the District of Chetwynd, we do so knowing that we are privileged to serve the citizens of this community, and we shall endeavor to conduct our business in their best interests. Thank you.
Okay. Prior to adoption of the agenda, is there any new business to be added? Council?
I'd like to add the Wabi Hill intersection to the agenda, please.
Okay. Any other new business? Not hearing any. Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
All those in favor? Carried. All right. Minutes. Minutes of the regular meeting held on March 17th, 2025. Regular council meeting.
Motion received. Second.
Any errors or omissions, council, staff? All those in favor, acceptance? Carried. All right, we'll move to delegations. Jeannie, Brocke, Chetwynd, Quintessential Quilters Guild. Podium is yours. Good to help you.
Oh, who's the vicar? Oh, I don't.
It does on the phone. Okay, so you can just move it down and it's really flexible.
Okay.
And then just turn it on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeannie Brocke, and I'm president of the Quintessential Quilters Guild here in Chetwynd. The Guild is probably one of the oldest nonprofit societies still running in Chetwynd, having started in 1993. Our membership varies year to year with numbers between 25 and 35. In 1996, the first of what we like to call care quilts was given out to a resident of Chetwynd who had experienced a devastating house fire. That spirit of giving has continued to the present day. In 2000, we started to gift care quilts to all the people who became residents of the extended care unit of our hospital. It is very rewarding when you see the joy or tears in the eyes of these residents, and to have some of them who can't believe that they have been given something so beautiful when we don't even know them. I believe they are a treasure to all of them. So some of you may even have a family member or friend who has received a quilt from the Guild. The gifting of quilts, however, does extend far beyond the hospital. It is hard to come up with a concrete number on how many quilts we have given out in the past 32 years, but it is well over 500 and maybe even over 1,000. I tried to come up with a list of all the recipients of care quilts or items gifted by Guild members, and I'm sure I may have missed some. However, these are some of the places where these items have gone. The palliative care room of our hospital, fidget quilts for hospital residents, New Year's babies when we used to have them delivered in Chetwynd, quilts to fire victims, Chetwynd Safe House, Chetwynd Public Library, Chetwynd Legion, Chetwynd RCIP, High School Rodeo, Meals to Wheels, Chetwynd Trade Fair, Dawson Creek Cancer Unit, Ronald McDonald House, the Humboldt Bronco Bus Crash Survivors or Families, children survivors of the Haiti earthquake living in an orphanage, wounded Canadian soldiers from the war in Afghanistan, Project Linus, quilts given to children coming from abused homes, and Quilts of Valor, a Canadian organization that makes quilts to give to Canadian veterans. The Guild has also participated in different events in the community. We have had display booths at Harvest Fest, and for many years, the quilt show has been held in conjunction with the local trade show. This year, we are forgoing the trade show, and plans are in the works to hold a Christmas quilt show, tea, and sale of quilted items to help with fundraising. A lot of the quilts being made, the supplies for the quilt tops have come from the personal supply of Guild members, with the Guild purchasing the backing and batting. However, with the cost of everything going up, we are hoping to be able to reduce some of these costs by providing some material resources. Also, as so many of our members are aging, maneuvering a quilt in a home sewing machine becomes harder on a person's body, and we are looking to be able to use the services of long-arm quilters in our area to do the quilting part of making the quilts. The Quilt Guild probably gives out between 10 to 15 quilts each year at an average cost of $250 to $400 each. In closing, I'm hoping that the district will consider our request for one of their community grants. We feel if we receive a grant, we will be able to continue to provide the needed number of quilts for the next 2 years. Thank you. Any questions?
Councillors? I do have one. I would just like to thank you for what you guys do for the needy and for the people that go to hospitals and do that kind of work. It's quite nice, and to have somebody care, and that is an essential part of this. And I'd like to thank you. And on the money side, grant side, have you put in for grants through the province and through other areas?
No, we
Because
have.
we have a economic developer that would probably assist you in helping out writing grants. So you could leave your information, and we will consider all options. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you. No, as first, oh, sorry, Julie. As we have never before, in the past, we have had, let me see, Talisman, when they were here, they would give their people that worked there once a year, they were able to donate to somebody they felt deserving in the
Yeah.
community. And we have received from them in the past. So, but other than that, we haven't applied through the province or anything.
Okay. Julie, Councillor Nelson.
Thank you for what you do. This project really is quite incredible. It seems to spread really wide and far. I'm curious about a couple of things. Is the $4,500 going to kind of cover you for the next 12 months?
No, actually, that would cover probably 2 to 3 years.
Okay. And when you're creating these quilts, are you working like as a communal effort as the whole guild creating a quilt, or are you each kind of doing it individually and donating?
A lot of us do it. We do it individually, mostly. Every once in a while, if there's something that we need to get done in a hurry or something like that, then we once a month, except for the summer, we use the seniors hall, and we hold all day retreats Saturday and Sundays. And so sometimes we will have like, okay, let's get going on this and work on that. And actually when they redid the seniors hall and with the painting and everything, the Quilt Guild actually, we hemmed all the curtains and made the new curtains and everything for them.
Of course you did. Well, it really is a great project, and thank you for presenting.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, Councillor McDonald.
Sorry.
Just to add on to what Mary Katrina was saying too, the PLD has been offering free grant writing services to local nonprofits as well. I'm not sure if they're still doing it, they're probably really well for that. And I do what Councilor Nelson said, you guys do an amazing job, and I truly missed you guys this year at Application, seeing your guys' art pieces.
Thank you. I've heard that a lot of people missed us being at the trade show this year.
If that's all the questions, thank you, Jeannie, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next delegation. Moira Green, General Manager, Community Futures, Peace Liard. Introduction of the Northeast BC Rural Community Immigration Pilot Program. Good afternoon. Moira?
Thank you, Your Worship, and there's the presentation. Great. So I'm here today on behalf of the Rural Community Immigration Pilot Project, which is a partnership with Communities, Northern Lights College, and Community Futures Peace Yards, which serves the whole of Northeast British Columbia. And where is the button? Okay. So what is the rural community, today's agenda will be what is the Rural Community Immigration Pilot Project? So a description of the project. How does the program work? Funding and operations, the role of local government, the order of magnitude, the future, and then any questions that you may have. So the mission of the Northeast BC Rural Community Immigration Project is to address the labor market and recruitment challenges faced by communities in Northeast BC, and it's led by employers, by attracting and retaining newcomers to Canada to build community through embracing innovation, new cultural perspectives, and helping newcomers build a successful life. To strengthen the capacity of the Northeast to develop, deploy, and retain a skilled workforce that can address persistent and emerging labor market needs and demographic challenges. To test a unique and innovative approach to immigration selection that emphasizes a coordinated approach between the federal government and the community. To improve the retention of immigrants in the Northeast by fostering a welcoming environment. I'm sorry, I'm keep bumping your microphone. To improve and to encourage the distribution of new Canadians to rural and remote communities. So how does the program work? The program is based on a steering committee, which is composed of economic development professionals, chambers of commerce, and settlement agencies from all the communities in the Northeast. So that would be the Peace River Regional District and the whole of the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality. The project process is we identify labor market needs by sector and subsector and select those for the first year. Each year you get to select what your national occupation codes are, NOC. So if you want to Google those, it's just NOC.ca. Engagement with and identification of approved employers by sector and community. Recruitment. The employer recruits the candidates to the permanent residency project with offers of employment which are full-time, permanent, and verifiable. Candidates with verifiable employment apply for permanent residency. They may or may not be recommended by the steering committee, a subcommittee of the steering committee, which would be a selection committee. And I understand that there are questions about the selection committee, which I will get to later, or if you'd like, I can answer that now. No? Okay. And then each year, provided that we manage to secure funding, we will review those occupation codes to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the communities that we're trying to serve. The project structure is a steering committee with 2 co-chairs, a project administrator, which we just hired, accounting support and premises and office supports. The steering committee has presented a simple operating plan for the project. The first year's budget is based on a single administrator and financial support and a very small travel budget. So the document that you were handed out, I'm hoping that you at some point had a package that had the whole document in it with the memorandums of understanding, the ministerial instructions, and the original application. So if I know that your legislative services department has that document, so if you want to see the full thing. The steering committee has presented the simple operating budget, which is included in the summary that you have there. Subsequent years would have increased administrative support. So when you look at the expense line, you'll see that the number increases for years 2 through 5. That's because we've added additional admin support. The application itself to the government of Canada called for 4 full-time positions to operate the project. We've trimmed that requirement by asking for the support of local governments to provide the in-community employer vetting. This eliminated 2 full-time equivalents from the budget and the requirement for travel from the cost of the project. For the first year, we have funding from Southeast Mackenzie Trust and Northern Lights College for a total of $95,000, and subsequent years are currently unfunded. There we go. So local governments play a crucial role in the success of this project. Because you know your local businesses, you're keenly aware of the recruitment and retention challenges that you have in your communities. You are partnered with your chambers of commerce and other community organizations. You have people in the community who can be available to meet with prospective employers. And your staff are already an integral part of the steering committee. Ordered line two. So the project area of the Peace River Regional District and the Northern Rockies Regional Municipality is nearly the size of the UK. The UK is 240,000 square kilometers, and the Peace River is 220,000 square kilometers. The annual budget requirements for this project are estimated at $200,000 annually for years 2 through 5 inclusive. The 2025 allocation for recommendations is 60, so that means the number of people that we can recommend to Canada for expedited permanent residency is 60. And we don't know yet what subsequent years will be. It's based on calculation of policy and the number of immigrants that the nation is prepared to entertain on an annual basis. The sector analysis is an annual process, so choosing the national occupation codes is an annual process. Employers may be added and removed at any time. It's the steering committee's wish that an employer who is accepted into the program stay in the program as long as it lasts. And one of the questions that we've received fairly often is housing and healthcare question. So it's our belief that housing and healthcare in our communities will not be impacted because most of the people, if not all of the people that we will be entertaining in this project are already here. They are already here living and working in our communities. And this project can be terminated with 90 days notice. So if we are unable to secure funding for years 2 through 5, we will provide notice to Canada on the 2nd of January, 2026, and the project will terminate on March 31st. So the steering committee plans to operate for the 2025-2026 fiscal year using the funding that we currently have available. $60,000 from Southeast Mackenzie Trust, $35,000 from Northern Lights College. Funding requests have gone to Pacifican, South Peace Mackenzie Trust, Northern Development Initiative Trust, and the Ministry of Jobs, Economic Development, and Innovation. We are asking all of them to either confirm or deny the funding request for years 2 through 5 before the end of June 2025. Our plan is to present local governments, all of you, with our budget requirements inclusive of the revenue side of the equation in July or August of 2025 for your consideration in your budget deliberations for the 26-7 budget year and subsequent years. If we are unable to fund the project, we will close it. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I'll start off with one of the serious stuff that we deal with, and we have staff that do have full-time jobs, and we as a community, when we do the vetting, this is my question about the vetting. We have full-time jobs, and if we're into business of doing that for the federal government or anybody attached to the federal government, it's quite I don't want to say alarming because this is a great program, but I would like to say that our staff is important to the community of Chetwynd. If we don't have that and we start putting our staff in a position where they have an extra job, that is not our position here in Chetwynd. Our position, in my opinion, as the mayor, is our staff. We hire them to do our job for the citizens of Chetwynd. So the vetting part, we would really have to look at. And that's kind of like what, if we had this all the time, it'd be great. There'd be no vetting. But when you ask us to give our staff different direction other than what we hired them to do, it's kind of difficult for us to have myself have that kind of talk with our staff. So that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to other counselors, or if you got a response, Moira? Yes.
Thank you. So I believe Chetwynd has 8 businesses on the list today.
I think there's 10.
So currently Chetwynd has 10 businesses on the interested employer list.
Mhm.
So between now and the 15th of November, those 10 businesses probably need 2 visits each. So that's an hour times 10 times 2 over 6 months to visit businesses who are already here in your community and that you already know. And that's only if they choose to apply to the program. So the process is we reach out to them and say, you expressed interest. Here are the links to 2 training modules with the Government Canada. They do the 2 training modules. Once they demonstrate to us that they're complete, we give them an application. If they fill the application out and it comes back to the steering committee, great. When we get the application, it gets vetted at the application stage. If they get past the vetting, then we would ask someone from Chetwynd, Fort Nelson, Tumbler Ridge, Dawson Creek, Fort St. John to go and see that employer. And the reason that we're doing that is because if we find a chair and a telephone, they're not going to be admitted to the program. Immigration is one of those places where crime is a very, very real risk. So that's why we need the visit is, and you already know these people.
Yes, I would have to speak with our CAO and get some legal advice on this matter. It seems to me that if we are putting our staff in a position to make a decision, and that's what vetting is making a decision on who and who doesn't. So that in itself is kind of bothering myself right now when you're mentioning vetting. So
May I respond to that also?
you can,
Thank you
yes.
so much. So the applications go to the steering committee. Each time there's a decision that needs to be made, we will strike a selection committee. It is understood at the steering committee, and it will be put into policy that the decisions for the community cannot be made by people from the community. For instance, Fort Nelson will not be making their decisions. Chetwynd will be making their decisions. Fort Nelson will make Tumbler Ridge's decisions. Tumbler Ridge will make Chetwynd's decisions. So each iteration of the selection committee has that objectivity built in.
Okay, thank you. That's all I've got to say on that. Any other? Okay, let's go. Councilor Smith.
I have a question about the project. So can you give me like an example of a business in Chetwynd and what they're looking for and why we would be looking at somebody who's immigrated here instead of somebody local when the job market is slow? Like, I'm just wondering what matching is already happening with people that are already here.
How about I give you a hypothetical
Yeah,
example?
that's
So,
okay.
thank you, Your Worship. So hypothetically, you are running a franchise coffee shop. And for that coffee shop, you need baristas and you need counter attendants and you need a cook. And over the last few years, you have not been successful in recruiting local Canadian residents to your business. So you have hired international students or people who are here on a temporary work visa. And your franchise agreement says that you must meet these hours of operation, and if you have to curtail your operation due to lack of staff, you get fined. And the people who are working for you are happily working, they're great workers, and you would like to keep them.
Okay.
Those are the people we're talking about.
Okay.
Now, times change, and I know that regardless of what we do today, those positions will be available again. Because especially with students, they move on to more exciting work. They move on to their career, their trained passion. So the jobs will be available again.
Councillor Hun?
Oh, okay, I do.
Yeah.
I'm just like, who wants to go first?
Councillor,
Okay, I'm just curious if there was any research done to compare to how many local permanent Chetwynd community members that are unemployed currently and looking for work. Like, have you looked at that before considering?
So we look.
go
If I
ahead.
may,
Go
Your
ahead.
Worship,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
We were not involved in the labor market assessments that were done, but each one of the positions that are currently working in the community were subject to labor market assessments. So that information is publicly available, and if someone on your staff sends me an email, I will send you the link. The rest of that story is that currently Community Futures, in partnership with Jobs, Economic Development and Innovation, are doing an economic development study in your community that came out of the closures, the mill closures, funded by the province. And the information that we're getting out of that study is that your employers are very interested in retaining their international workforce.
Yeah, I can understand that. I do think we have a pretty high unemployed population here, so that's why I just question that. And I'm sure they do an amazing job at what they do. I'm wondering what are the qualifications of the vetting here?
So the vetting, so the steering committee and the selection.
Or the steering committee.
So one of the reasons that we have, so when you get the whole document, read the MOU with Canada, the working MOU. In that MOU are the ministerial instructions that define exactly how this project works. We are required to report to Canada monthly, quarterly, and annually, and all of that information will be published.
Thank you.
Qualifications. We deliberately looked for people who are working in economic development, CED, community economic development in your communities. So, for instance, we are working with your economic development officer and the manager of your chamber of commerce, because who knows your community better than those people? Same with Fort St. John, their manager of economic development, their chamber of commerce manager. Fort Nelson, their manager of economic development, their chamber of commerce manager. And there are additional seats for people who are currently working in settlement, like the Literacy Society and Success.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Smith and then Councillor Deck.
Could this be also used to attract, I know sometimes people have training that's not in Canada. Could this also help facilitate people that were, let's say a nurse in the Philippines, but Canada is a nurse here? Is this also sort of to target that?
Yes.
Okay.
So when you look at that, thank you.
Yes, go
When
ahead,
you look at
Moira.
the NOCs, the National Occupation Codes, you'll find that they're divided into 9 segments. So 9 segments, and then there's 5 categories that go from executive training like CAO, CFO, that kind of stuff, to I need a university degree, to I need a college diploma or a 2-year certificate, to I need some sort of training or a certificate, to I need no training. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the people that you're talking about, they probably be indicators 1, 2, and possibly 3. So some sort of post-secondary training or a diploma or a degree. Those are the people that you're talking about. Our hope is that when the final version of the steering committee's not codes are out, we're in about version 2, and I anticipate that we will be finished in 2 weeks. You will see that there's a pretty even division between the kind of jobs that we were just talking about and the ones where you need significant training. Right? If this project goes into years 2 to 5, it's our hope that we'll be able to work with Northern Health, the school district. The problem is that we're halfway through the calendar year, and there's no way that an organization of that size is going to be able to meet our requirements to use our 60 recommendations. If we don't use them, if we can't allocate them by the 15th of November, Canada is going to ask for them back and give them to someone else.
Thank you.
Councillor Deck.
With the 60 allocations, is that new allocations?
That is recommendations that we can make to Canada to expedite the permanent residency process.
Okay, so, and that's in in the whole area here. I think that's a little light. I've spoken to a couple of business people, and they've about this in particular, and they're right now they're in a jam, and there's people that are going to be asked to leave here pretty quick. And is that going to pick up the pace, or is it going to increase the numbers? Or
So please feel free after April 28th to speak to your MP.
Yeah, good one.
And we have spoken with the team at IRCC about the allocation, and what they can tell us is that the allocation is based on the decision by the federal government as to how many people we're going to allow into the country in every year. Now, because we're new, this is our first time out on a project like this, our allocation is indeed light. But let's make sure we use every one of the 60 so that we can demonstrate to them that we have the need. If we are able to fund this project for years 2 through 5, we could start January 2nd with twice as many and get rolling. But right now, we're not going past the 31st of March.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor. Any more? Councillor Beck?
That's okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Nelson.
Just quick question in regards to the revenue side of the program. You were speaking of grants. Is there further revenues to be made? Will individuals and businesses be charged, or is it a free service?
There's no charge. So first of all, the project comes with low funding, and there's no charge other than the cost that they can pay inside the PR process. So there are application fees and fees paid to Canada for that, but there's no, the project doesn't realize any revenue at all. So we have to find grant funding or municipal funding if there's a shortfall, which would be what we will present to you in the summer for your consideration in your next year's budget. And if it's too much, then we don't do it.
Thank you.
Councillor Smith?
I have another question. Is this just local to this area? Is this something that the community futures put together, or is this something that's happening all across Canada? And like you just decided, or how did this come with no funding? How did this come about? Yes.
Okay. So this is the second iteration of a rural communities immigration project. The first one expired, did its 5 years and expired. There were 15 projects issued in the nation, 3 of them in British Columbia, 1 to the south of Okanagan, which is a renewal of the previous one to the East Kootenays, also a renewal, and this one is the only one in the province of British Columbia.
And I believe MP Zimmer was instrumental in this, right? He was talking about that down south on the other side of Prince George, and he talked to people around the area here about the program, to what they had down south. So yeah, he was the one that was advocating for a program. So that was quite important. One of the things that I was going to ask was about the cost. So you answered that question on the grants and what will it cost? Like for a small community like Chetwynd, we do have a budget, and it's not big as Dawson Creek or the PRRD. You know, we are a small community, and if it comes down to us and feeling that we are a little bit responsible for this not continuing, you know, these are pretty tough questions and answers that people will take back, and that in itself is not a good feeling that I have, that if we let people down in our community and in surrounding areas. So, you know, this stuff that the federal government, and I state the federal government puts out, should come with some funding. It should not be put on Chetwynd, Hudson Hope, Dawson Creek, Fort St. John, and the Rockies. So this in itself is kind of like, anyway, that's more.
Thank you, Worship. I agree completely. And It is my sincere hope that we can convince Pacifican and NDIT to fund us fully. That is the goal. And if it doesn't happen, then that's when we'll come back and talk it over with all of you.
Mhm.
And you can decide what we do next.
Councillor Nick?
Thank you for your presentation. I think it's very important. We have quite a few people in this community that have contributed well, and we would like to keep them here.
Any other questions? Staff? Opportunity? We're good?
Oh, I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Ellen, we're
Worship.
good? Okay.
Thank you, Worship. Our ask is that you debate the whole package and the resolution to support the memorandum of understanding at your earliest next availability.
Yes, and like I mentioned too, we will look into the vetting part because that's kind of disturbing with the staff. And I would like more information from both sides, our side and your side on the vetting part. Once we understand that, a certain MOU would be appropriate. But until that time, I don't want to put our staff in a predicament that we look like we haven't protected our staff in any way.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yep, thank you, Moira. It's good information. All right. No bylaws, we're good. Committee reports. Committee reports, any liaison reports? We'll start to the left, to the right. Okay, Councillor Hunt?
That is the grand last.
Yeah.
Hey, on Wednesday, March 19th, I attended the Chetwynd Communications Society annual meeting. There was a good gathering of community members there that attended. There has been a shift in directors and one director has stepped down. The Communications Society is looking for 2 more directors to join. Angela Brocke appears to have settled in well into her role as manager and addressed the group, giving praise to her staff for their hard work and dedication within their roles. Thursday night bingo is still getting busier and busier, and they ask that I remind you and the community members that by participating, you are helping support other community program funding. To find information on bingo or other Chetwynd Communications Society events, please see their Facebook page, Chetwynd Communications Society TV Bingo. The Society is looking for sponsors to help keep programming going and is also looking for ways to increase their presence within the community. If anyone has any ideas or suggestions, please reach out to Angela at the Chet TV office.
Councillor McDonald, any? Okay, Councillor Nelson?
Thank you. So the Chetwynd Public Library has a grand opening date set for Tuesday, June the 3rd. We definitely hope to see the whole community out. It should be barbecue and really showing off the new building. It has had all deficiencies corrected and it's absolutely stunning. And I will point out to anybody in our community who hasn't walked into the library more recently and is into gardening, there's a full seed library, which just shocked me when I saw it's stacks and stacks of seeds free for the community. So I urge everyone to go have a look at that. The BC Hydro Go Fund is a board that I've been sitting on for the last couple of years, and we are handing out 100,000 annually in our region. As the completion of the Site C dam is done, so is the BC Hydro Go funding. We did in fact give all the money away, so there's no more of these grants to be had. But I will say that our Chetwynd Public Library was one of the last 2 organizations to receive that final money. So, good things came to Chetwynd out of that. And Chetwynd Trade Show, which we were at this weekend, and we saw quite a few of our community members there. We are talking, I actually ran into quite a few people. I said, you want to know about capital spending? And surprisingly, a lot of people from our community really do want to know about capital spending. So good conversations to be had about our walkways and our sidewalks, and just truly nice to see post-COVID, how we are gathering again, we are doing trade shows, and our Chamber of Commerce does deserve kudos for the excellent job, because it was an economic stimulus. We did see a lot of people coming into our town from surrounding areas, and I think it was really successful all around. Thank you.
Any others?
Just a quick one from the Senior Citizens Housing Society. Little Prairie Haven is full, Soror's Place is full, and they both have waiting lists.
Okay. Thank you. From the mayor, Kananaskal Kanal, thank you for being here. And from the PRD perspective, the PRD had learned that BC Hydro Site C is planning to dispose of Site C camp and dispose of it in our local landfills. This would cause our local landfills to be over capacity, and the PRD would have to look for new landfills at a cost of $20 million to generate new landfills. So the PRD was also in the position that right from the beginning of Site C, that the camp would be taken care of by BC Hydro Site C until I believe it was approximately 60 to 90 days. I'm not too sure on the timeline, but we found out as directors at the PRD that they were going to dispose of it in landfills. So our indication at the beginning, they were going to give it to the community at large, like the region. But the cost of moving each building, they'd have to get a crane. And so the cost of moving it was going to be quite high. So they themselves said, well, if you want part of this Site C camp, you can come get it. So communities like us, where we don't have the economics to go and hire a crane to pull pieces of, because it is a 3-story camp building unit where they're set up in three levels. So you'd have to get a crane, trucks, and I think the number was into the hundreds of trucks that would go in there and be able to haul everything away. So that in itself was kind of disturbing, that BC Hydro Site C is going to pass the cost on to people in the region, either through taking it or putting it in our landfills, where we'd have to build new landfills because they would have overfilled our local landfills. So if anybody needs any information about that, you can go to www.sitecproject.com to find the information. And there's an article in CBC written by Andrew Curiata, posted April 3rd, 2025. So you can go and learn a little bit more about what they're proposing. As for, I went to a conference in Prince George. It's the Kofi conference. It's forestry industry. The province has an allowable annual cut of 45 million cubic meters. That's fiber. And their goal was to reach 45. This past year, they only got up to 36 billion. So they were 9 less than what they predicted that they were going to cut. So that meant the sawmills that we see that closed Fort St. John and ours 2 years ago has an effect on that allowable annual cut. So this was some of the stuff that we were given as data at the Kofi conference. Just some examples were growth of domestic roundwood trees, roundwood harvesting from 2013 to 2023. There's some of the percentages. The increase in Brazil was 2.6%. New Zealand, 0.9%. Finland, 0.8%. Sweden, 0.4%. And in Austria, it was 0%. They did not increase. They just kept their production at that level or whatever they were producing. Now, the decrease, USA 0.2, Chile 0.4, and right now, BC alone, the decrease is 6.5%. It's more than all those countries put together, our decrease in the allowable cut that we produce, just BC. So that meant what we're seeing today, the loss of our sawmills, has directly to do with this. So some of the factors was the stumpage rate. That means what it costs when you cut down that tree, you pay to the province. And permitting, slow permitting, and not issuing permits on time. Sawmills usually run on 6 months ahead of time. That's probably the least amount of time where they could figure on operating for the year. So it would be, some would have a 2-year, they knew what they were going to cut. They know what they're cutting in 2027. But now it's just about a month to 60 days where they have to figure this out, that how they're going to produce lumber in our sawmills. So with that, I had a meeting with the Minister of Forest, Ravi Parmar, and I told him that we only have one mill here in the Northeast. Camphor West in Fort St. John just shut down last year. We've got West Fraser, the only breakdown mill, 2x4, 2x6, 2x10 mill in Northeast BC. We've got a couple of pulp mills and at the LP runs and a few others. But anyway, these are some of the stuff that's happened in the last decade, from 2013 to 2023. So with that, I invited the minister to come to Chetwynd. He accepted the invitation. So hopefully he said he would attend or come to Chetwynd in May. So probably end of May, hopefully. If not, we will write another letter because I asked him to come to Chetwynd prior to meeting this weekend, and he said he was going to. So the CAO, Steve McLean, and myself, we wrote a letter to the minister and stated that, you know, if you're going to give your word that you're going to come visit Chetwynd, show up. And that's what I told him again this weekend. You give your word, show up. And that's just the basics of it. Every minister I meet, I invite them to Chetwynd. So that is my report. Would you like to ask questions, Council? You good? Okay. So I will send it around with just one more. I will send it to Council and the ministers decide to come and visit us. Okay, go ahead. We need a motion to accept reports.
Motion to receive.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, discussion items. Email from the Northern Lights College dated March 18th, 2025. Invite for the 2025 NLC convocation ceremony.
I'll make the motion that council authorize the mayor or alternate to attend the 2025 Northern Lights College convocation ceremonies in Dawson Creek, BC, May 29, 2025, and or the Fort St. John, BC, June 5th, 2025.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councilor Beck.
Is there no convocation in Chetwynd?
Students go to Dawson.
Yeah, students go to Dawson, yeah. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carry it. South Peace Health Expo 2025 invite.
A motion that all members of council be authorized to attend the 2025 South Peace Health Expo in Dawson Creek, BC, May 1, 2025.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carry. Correspondence. Email from the City of Prince George dated March 24, 2025. 2025 North Central Local Government Association resolutions.
Motion to receive C1 and C2.
Thank you for a second.
Sorry.
Oops.
Yeah, we got a second. Discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Letter from Interject Renewable Energy Inc. dated March 5th, 2025, Stewart Creek Wind Project Update.
Mayor, I did motion to receive C1 and C2.
Okay, thank you very much, Mel.
Yep.
Oh. And Councillor Ward. Okay, carry on. Information items. Any there that need to be pulled, councillors?
Motion to receive I-1 through I-9.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Carry. I should just have opposed, right? Okay, reports for action. Statement of financial information, RA1.
I'll recommend that council, the district of Chetwynd approves all statements and schedules included in this statement of financial information produced under the financial advice.
We have a second, any discussion? Any opposed? Okay, carry. RA2, 5209 43rd Street, hazardous structure.
This is the wrong side, then we were doing.
I'll make the motion that council authorize administration to obtain quotes for the demolition and removal of this structure located at 5209 43rd Street, Chetwynd, BC.
Second.
Okay, the question is, Councillor Hunt?
This is the white one that's beside the new building. This is the white trailer beside the new gray trailer on the corner, right? I Googled it and I kind of got both of them. There's two trailers side by side that are white.
Yes, it's the one right pretty much at the top of the hill as you come down the street. That's, I believe it's by a newer one, but I would have to look at it to be absolutely sure. It's in an obvious state of disrepair, as you can see in the pictures, so if you drive out there, you'll see it.
Okay. Councillor.
That's it. That's it. Questions. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, all those in favor? Carry. No reports, new business. Councillor Nelson.
So I wanted to add the Wabi Hill intersection, which really isn't that much of an intersection. It simply is that area at the top of Wabi Hill, which I believe that our community is well aware of, the dangerous kind of situation that we're in with this. So at the top of Wabi Hill, we have rat race on the one side. If we were heading east up the hill, there would be a sign that said no turning left to rat race. And then you've got two double lanes converging into a single lane. And there is no proper road markings. There is no obvious signage. And there is no obvious delineation about this section of road. And this is an issue that really strikes a chord within our community. This is the 1 year anniversary where we lost 2 youths in that very section. When I drove by this morning, there was a young man on his dirt bike, hanging his head next to the memorials that are there on the side of the highway. And I feel like, I mean, I've got a lot to say about this, but what I would like to do is I'd like to make a motion to staff to write a letter to the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure on behalf of Mayor and Council to please ask them to bring their engineers and please focus their attention on this specific area so they can do something that creates some more safety within this section of road so close to our community. And ideally that we can avoid further tragedy.
Second for the letter, or we just write a letter, Steve?
Or
Okay, we'll just do, okay,
Yeah, you can. There's been a motion, so we should have a second. Councillor Ward, are you seconding?
I would also like to ask, if something like that happens anywhere in the country, do we know if the Ministry of Highways looks into how it could have been prevented from their point of view?
Yes, basically anytime there's a highway fatality, there's a full study and it goes back to whatever provincial ministry is involved. We have inquired about it because like Councillor Nelson says, it is near, you know, a true blow to our whole community. We've been assured that Moat now, it's actually changed its name, is reviewing this intersection. It's in the hands of their engineers and they're redesigning it. What that timeline looks like, we are not privy to. We're more than happy to write a letter and you know, follow up on it. It isn't in District of Chetwynd property, it's in the regional district. And that's another layer of complexity to it, because we have, you know, frankly, like Councillor Nelson and I were talking about at the trade show this weekend, our roads are horrible. You know, we have the Pine Pass, we have every direction you go, you have hills and intersections like Wabi. We now paint with latex, so the markings are gone in, you know, about 6 weeks. I firmly believe, and what I've said to the ministry in the past, is that this would not be acceptable anywhere else in the province other than north of Prince George. So it is something that we follow up on. We'll absolutely write another letter. I'll send it out for Mayor and Council approval within the next day or two at the top.
You know what, I would like to add further that I think you're right. So we get lost in the north and we seem to have, our voices seem to be quieter somehow. But I do believe that the squeaky wheel does get the grease. And I think that this, well, I was going to say this is a hill I'm willing to die on, but no, this is just really, really important because this isn't just new. This isn't just this last year. This has been going on for decades. And the loss that our community has suffered, I think that it can be mitigated if the ministry would listen.
any others? We also deal with brake check, right, the turnout. And there's been a few coming up from Dawson Creek east and running into the back of a truck because they didn't know it turned into a single lane. So there has been a couple of those happen right up on that end. I haven't heard any fatalities that way, but it happens because there is 2 lanes verging to one, like you said. And we did talk to the owners of Rat Race, and they indicated, and some of the ideas was move the double lane from east just down the hill a ways so that it's a single lane. So nobody can figure that it's 2 lanes when they get to the brake check. And that's about a 250 meters. So it's a quarter of a kilometer down, and that would solve a bit of the problem. And so it was discussed, and like I would like to either CC it to the Peace River Regional District, right? If there's no other discussion for the letter, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Public questions. At this time, you have opportunity to ask questions on what is on our agenda for tonight, April 7th. One more time, any public questions? Not hearing any? Adjournment, please.
Second.
Okay.
Let's start off with, I guess, the vision that you guys saw by the time you were in council 7 years ago with this building. What was the vision of this building back then?
So back then, the vision was based on the elders and people in community who fantasized about having a building where we could all gather, a big enough space to accommodate everyone and more people, so that we could house bigger events and bring more people together, because the current gym that we have is too small, and because we're growing in population, we needed to expand.
What was it like when you guys decided that, you know, you were going to go ahead and do it? Like, was there excitement? Were people nervous? What was that journey like?
So when the organization came together to talk about the idea becoming a reality, there was a lot of unknowns. Where is the money going to come from? How are we going to fund it? So before the excitement, there was worry and stress, and there was a lot of unanswered questions to make the idea a little uneasy. But over time, the questions started to get answers, and then the funding came, and then that's when the excitement came, because now we have a way to navigate to the project.
What would you say was one of the more challenging aspects of building this, making this project a reality?
So the biggest challenge of all, of course, is the budget, because you can plan so much, but then there's always something thrown into the mix where it was unexpected. So then you have to accommodate, you know, the budget and figure out, how do you navigate this cost that we didn't foresee? And so it really did come down to how to manage the money, and we had a good enough contingency that all the outside things that we didn't expect and plan for, it worked out in the end. It all just fell into place and things happened, and we're grateful for that.
Can you give us do you know numbers by any chance, just roughly like total cost of project, and how long did it take to build?
So the build took 3 years, 2-3 years. And the funding came from 2 different pots, 3 different pots. So in total, around 27 million. Can't give an exact number right off the top of my head, but we had enormous help from the federal and provincial governments, and then the nation kicked in some of our dollars to make it all work out.
And when you look at the building here today, what does the building make you feel when you look at it?
Connection. It's all about connection. It makes me feel so happy that we have a place to connect, because that's what this building is all about, is so we can bring people in, we can share, we can eat food together, discuss different things, and connect. You know, same with Pemmican Days, that's a place to share, to eat together, to have fun, but to connect. And I think this space is going to provide that on so many different levels.
Do you have any special areas of the building that are maybe in your heart a bit of your favorite, or anything that sticks out to you?
I do have a favorite room. It's the music room, because you can make magic in a music room. We have a lot of musicians in community, and I think that's a great space to encourage and develop the talent. And so if people want to record, that's an option. They can do that, because that's what the music room does. And you know, I think that's a wonderful element to have in the building, is to be able to have a music program, teach people how to write a song. We have a stage now where they could perform. Like, I think that kind of entertainment is really uplifting, and that adds a whole element of fun. So I think that's my favorite.
And then anything else that you would like to add, or maybe we missed in our conversation?
Anything to add?
Yeah, anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just looking forward to the future, and I'm so excited that all the teams got together to make this happen. And I'm so thrilled, you know, the turnout that we had today. And I'm just really grateful and full of like happy emotions, because today is the day that we were waiting for years. Like, when the idea came around 7 years ago and started discussing how are we going to do this, back then it was a dream, and now it's reality. So I'm thrilled. It's exciting.
gonna happen? A gold armor skeleton.
She almost lost her only friend. No.
Hey, Kat. I have a bone to pick with you.
Welcome to Chetwynd.
start off with, I guess, the vision that you guys saw by the time you were in council 7 years ago with this building. What was the vision of this building back then?
So back then, the vision was based on the elders and people in community who fantasized about having a building where we could all gather, a big enough space to accommodate everyone and more people, so that we could house bigger events and bring more people together, because the current gym that we have is too small, and because we're growing in population, we needed to expand.
What was it like when you guys decided that, you know, you were going to go ahead and do it? Like, was there excitement? Were people nervous? What was that journey like?
So when the organization came together to talk about the idea becoming a reality, there was a lot of unknowns. Where is the money going to come from? How are we going to fund it? So before the excitement, there was worry and stress, and there was a lot of unanswered questions to make the idea a little uneasy. But over time, the questions started to get answers, and then the funding came, and then that's when the excitement came, because now we have a way to navigate to the project.
What would you say was one of the more challenging aspects of building this, making this project a reality?
So the biggest challenge of all, of course, is the budget, because you can plan so much, but then there's always something thrown into the mix where it was unexpected. So then you have to accommodate, you know, the budget and figure out, how do you navigate this cost that we didn't foresee? And so it really did come down to how to manage the money, and we had a good enough contingency that all the outside things that we didn't expect and plan for, it worked out in the end. It all just fell into place and things happened, and we're grateful for that.
Can you give us do you know numbers by any chance, just roughly like total cost of project, and how long did it take to build?
So the build took 3 years, 2-3 years. And the funding came from 3 different pots. So in total, around 27 million. Can't give an exact number right off the top of my head, but we had enormous help from the federal and provincial governments, and then the nation kicked in some of our dollars to make it all work out.
And when you look at the building here today, what does the building make you feel when you look at it?
Connection. It's all about connection. It makes me feel so happy that we have a place to connect, because that's what this building is all about, is so we can bring people in, we can share, we can eat food together, discuss different things, and connect. You know, same with Pemmican Days, that's a place to share, to eat together, to have fun, but to connect. And I think this space is gonna provide that on so many different levels.
Do you have any special areas of the building that are maybe in your heart a bit of your favorite, or anything that sticks out to you?
I do have a favorite room. It's the music room, because you can make magic in a music room. We have a lot of musicians in community, and I think that's a great space to encourage and develop the talent. And so if people want to record, that's an option. They can do that, because that's what the music room does. And you know, I think that's a wonderful element to have in the building, is to be able to have a music program, teach people how to write a song. We have a stage now where they could perform. Like, I think that kind of entertainment is really uplifting, and that adds a whole element of fun. So I think that's my favorite.
And then anything else that you would like to add, or maybe we missed in our conversation?
Anything to add?
Yeah, anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just looking forward to the future, and I'm so excited that all the teams got together to make this happen. And I'm so thrilled, the turnout that we had today. And I'm just really grateful and full of like happy emotions because today is the day that we were waiting for years. Like when the idea came around 7 years ago and started discussing how are we gonna do this, back then it was a dream and now it's reality. So I'm thrilled, it's exciting.
Oh, what is gonna happen? A gold armor skeleton!
She almost lost her only friend. No.
Hey, Cat. I have a bone to pick with you.
Welcome.